everybody. I'm Scott Ramp. I'm here with Missoula Community and Media Resource, and we're here interviewing the folks from the St. Patrick's Day Parade and all the folks at the Friends of the Irish Study. We're here with Traolach, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Claire.
Claire. And you're both here to promote the St. Patrick's Day, the 42nd St. Patrick's Day Parade that's happening on March 16th, which is a Saturday. So we're technically a month away from filming today.
We are indeed. That's the way we do things. We used to have the parade on the day of the feast day itself, the 17th. And the main organizer, the Ancient Order of Hibernians. But we put our heads together and figured, okay, we can do this, during the week. But the problem is we're not getting families out or kids out. This is something, that's important for the kids. They need to go there. They need to know who St. Patrick is, who he represents. They need to know about the Irish heritage in this state, and they need to be given the opportunity to get some candy, have some fun, associate St. Patrick and the Irish with, a good celebration and a joyful event. So we switched it, and now it's the Saturday before the feast day itself, and this year is going to occur on the 16th of March.
Yep. And if you've been in Missoula, you know that most parades happen on Saturdays anyway, so it all works out that way. So tell us what else you guys are doing besides that parade. You guys have other things lined up as well?
We do. We start with Mass, and I'm interrupting here, but that's my favorite part of it because we get to do the Mass in Irish and English. So we have some of our Fulbright teachers will do the readings this year, and we'll have some music, and that's a free and beautiful event in St. Francis Church over here on Pine off of Orange. And we do a little reception in the basement. They have a lovely room. It's like a cafe. It's called Reedy Hall. So if you're around on that Saturday morning, come in and sample the Mass and some soda bread from the Stone of Accord. We'd love to see you there.
What is this soda bread?
Well, it's just amazing stuff. I mean, like in Ireland, a lot of the baking had nothing to do with yeast. It was what we had handy in the kitchen. So your baking soda, your salt, little bit of, what's the name of the milk?
Buttermilk.
Buttermilk,
Right.
things they would have had on the farm. And then you just simply mix it all up together and throw it in the oven at a high temperature, and it's Bob's your uncle. It's easy peasy.
It's absolute, and it's gorgeous. When I was a small boy growing up in Ireland, every Sunday, my mother would make these two huge loaves. We'd be kicked out, and we would go to hurling games or with my father on walks. But while we were out, and we weren't there to annoy her or irritate her, she would make these wonderful loaves. Two of them. One was the brown soda bread, and the other one was the soda bread, which was white with currants. And then when you come back, they'd have been out long enough where they're still warm, and you put a heap of butter on it, which would melt into it, and then some jam. My God, it was, yeah.
And nothing says bread like homemade bread for sure.
Oh God,
like
no.
Getting bread or anything made for you is such a treat for sure in general.
Oh, absolutely.
Because sometimes when I feel like I'm cooking or baking or anything like that, like I always feel like I do everything wrong.
Yeah.
Even though people are like, no, this is pretty good. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but you kind of come from a background anyway. There's a certain standard, and I know my mother's soda bread. I don't think anyone could bake soda bread like my mother. And Claire would say no one could bake soda bread like her mother. And now I never baked anything because I'm not, that good at baking. But my sisters have tried it, and I've tried their soda bread, and it's not quite the same as my mother's. It never is, But anyway, it's just that you get used to this certain flavor and certain taste. And it's a funny thing about baking, I never realized this, that it actually depends on the quality of the product is impacted in a huge way by the person who's actually doing it, who's actually making it.
It's very true. It's very true. Like if you ever ate food made in a monastery, I mean, there's a whole process to it. There is something to do with the frame of mind of the person as they're trying to prepare food.
Yep.
There's definitely a science to that.
There's a science, there's an art to it, or something there.
Oh, yeah, because you get a, I hate to say this, but you get a little taste of the baker themselves in their own bakings.
You do, and you can get two people, give them the same ingredients, have them work together, put them into the same oven, and then when you take them out, they're not the same.
And as you, of course, if you guys are tuning in, looking right now, we're seeing some of the parade from last year. This is from the 41st annual parade, and just a little bit more of a retrospective history, because Irish has definitely been a big part of Montana, especially in the Butte area, because Marcus Daly specifically liked the idea of Irish immigrants coming in, because they were coming in with the work mentality and strong, family ties and everything like that. So a lot of Irish people got jobs through Butte, and so Butte also has a big St. Patrick's Day celebration along with that.
They do, yeah. They have, but they have it on the day there. But they've always stuck to that tradition, because that was always the case, that you celebrate the patron saint on his feast day. So, like if you go to New York, I think New York, the St. Patrick's Day parade is the only parade that they shut down Fifth Avenue for.
Wow.
Still to this day. And that's on the 17th, on the feast day as well. And that goes back to 1768, when the first parade took place, because the St. Patrick's Day parade is actually an Irish-American event. I think the first parade in Ireland didn't occur till 1902.
Yeah.
So, and Butte has also, because of its long tradition, as a centre of Irish culture, followed in the pattern, the norm at the time of throughout the country, where the actual festival itself would take place on the feast day, and they still adhere to that.
Yeah.
So Uptown Butte shuts down for the parade on the 17th.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you guys have a poster, right?
We do, because we have other things going on here. We have a hurling game going on to lead up. So you got to whet the appetite. There's no point in just catching a fella, dropping him into the deep end and telling him swim. You got to ease him in. And we begin with a hurling game, on the 10th, which will take place in the Washington Grizzly Stadium. And we have students and local practitioners, because we have 2 or 3 clubs now in the state, and they'll participate. And then on the 11th, which is a Monday, at 7:30, we'll have that internationally renowned traditional Irish band, Lornasa, playing at the UM Recital Hall. And then, of course, following on from that, we'll have our St. Patrick's Day parade on the 16th, beginning with Mass, as Claire pointed out. Then we're going to have the parade, and then we're going to have whiskey tasting in the Rhino Bar, and it's all Irish whiskies that are available there. And then also for kids, there's going to be carousel rides from 1:30 to 3:30. And then in the evening, we'll have our big banquet and auction. This is to support the Irish Studies program and to help students, first of all, I suppose, to help us to continue to provide access to the courses. And also provide students with scholarships and assistance, so they can go back and study in Ireland. Because it's all very well being out here and working and studying Irish culture and so forth, but then taking what you know and going back and applying it in Ireland, because they're learning the language, and really got to go back to Ireland to speak the language, and that's had a huge transformative effect on a lot of these kids. So we'd like them to have the opportunity to do that, the opportunity to go to the University College Cork, our sister university over there, and spend a semester or two, and just make their experience, their education experience in Montana, at the University of Montana, as rich and as international as we possibly can.
Which is good, because immersion is a great way to get the language down.
It is. You have to go there, you have to speak, and you'll find that those that go there, when they come back, they're the ones who really excel in the later courses that we offer. So, yeah, and they have a great time, and they get away from, I suppose, just the norm of life here, and they find themselves where they're in a different environment. They're kind of a little bit out of their comfort zone, and they're trying to find, okay, where do they fit into all of this? And it sets off a process of introspection that has led many of them to make decisions that have had huge impacts on their lives and the direction their lives have taken. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what the university is about. It's basically, providing with access to the universe, making it as universal as possible. So that's what we're about now, Scott.
Yeah, and so a lot of these programs will definitely be available through, of course, the Friends of Irish Studies website. It is a great resource for those looking to get access to all the events that are happening. Not to mention, my always go-to is MissoulaEvents.net. I always like to go to there because it always tells about a lot of the events that are just happening here in the city of Missoula. And we'll make sure to put a link down in the description so people can get access to your guys' website and support
Yeah.
you as best as they can, even if they can't make up to all the events that are happening.
Well, that's the thing, and I think the other thing with the Friends of Irish Studies is kind of community focused, because this is the group really that brings the community together to support the Irish Studies program. But they also offer a lot of things for their own members. You know, you may have members that are interested in learning the language. Well, the Friends actually sponsor kind of online classes or blended courses where, you know, members of the organization, some of them living in New York, Kentucky, all over the state, are now accessing these courses and learning the language with meeting once a week on Zoom. Then you have the tours. So they run tours back to Ireland and bring members back to Ireland to experience, not sightseeing, actually the culture. You go into people's homes.
This kind of feels like open education for all.
That's exactly, you know, it's trying to make sure that everybody, it's not just one demographic, but everybody has an opportunity to experience, you know, Irish culture and the opportunity to go to Ireland, spend time in Ireland. And
you know, America in itself has been such a great catalyst for a lot of these Irish traditions, not to mention to be really ingrained even in our own American experiment that we're living today.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, to be honest about it, and you look at Irish culture today, the great cultural movement that preserved the language comes out of America. I mean, if you read a history book, they'll tell you that the organisation that led the cultural revival, the Gaelic League, was established in Dublin in July 1893. And the question I've always asked is this: if the Gaelic League was established in 1893, would somebody mind explain to me how the Mayor of Bute, P.J. Harrington, was a member of the Gaelic League in 1890, 3 years before it was officially established? Well, It wasn't established in Dublin, it was established here in the United States. You know?
Montana was quite a trendsetter back in those days, for sure.
It absolutely was. It was considered one of the 5 great bastions of Irish American culture. You know, so it's still playing a very leading role in terms of Irish culture, certainly from the perspective of the Irish government, because the Irish government, you know, and I have friends that are in the government who have told me about this, but they had one discussion, it was actually before COVID, and they were talking about promoting Irish culture, because the links between America and Ireland are cultural and historical, and whatever economic links are going to emerge, they'll be all rooted in this cultural and historical foundation. So they invest in Irish studies programs and Irish cultural groups and societies and organizations. While they were doing a review of all this investment that they were making, and they were talking specifically about Irish studies, and this is what I was told in the course of that discussion. It was pointed out to the minister of the department in charge that on the East Coast, Boston College and NYU were taking care of the promotion of Irish culture. In the Midwest, you had Notre Dame, and then out in the West, you had the University of Montana taking care of the rest of America.
Wow. So much.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were talking, when they were aware of the fact we developed a large online curriculum of courses, you know, and that there was a large number of people that were outside of Montana, all over the country, that were now coming to online to avail of what we were offering. So, yeah.
Even to this day, very much a lot of cultures, a lot of universities, a lot of systems. Heck, even people, you know, coming out of state really like utilizing the university systems that we have in Montana, just because it's so inviting for a lot of groups.
It is. You know, we got a great university, and you sometimes forget that. You know, we tend to focus a lot on all the challenges and all the difficulties.
Of course.
And I'm not saying they're not real or anything like that, you do, but there needs to be a certain balance here, you know? And certain kind of, sometimes you got to stand back and look at this university and look at what it has achieved, the great people that it has produced. I mean, if you look at the list of graduates that have come out of that university, you'd have to ask yourself, how could a university so small in such a place produce so many graduates that have impacted the lives, not just on a local level or national, but international level, you know?
Yeah.
It's just true. It's an incredible resource, you know?
Yeah. Well, you did one heck of an argument to convince people to go check out the parade and all these other events that you guys are going to be doing as well. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the events?
Just, we're really looking forward to seeing a good turnout. We would love for some good weather. So if you have any in with the men above, or St. Patrick or St. Bridget, help us to get a good weather day so that the children and people of all ages can come out and celebrate together, because that's what it's all about. Come and enjoy the day. We'd love to have you there, and we look forward to seeing you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott, for having us.